has been affiliated with Fieldwork Education UK since 2013 and is proudly the only school in South Asia to be accredited for the International Primary Curriculum, which is the IPC. We are immensely grateful to Fieldwork for giving us this opportunity to imbibe a curriculum that supports learning irrespective of the geographic location of the school or the nationalities and cultural background of the learners. We have amongst us from various schools and most importantly, members from Fieldwork Education United Kingdom. Before we formally start with the conference, let us all rise for the national anthem.
Sayo thunga fulka हामी एउटै माला नेपाली सार्वभौमै फैलिएका मेची महाकाली सायो थुङ्गा फुल्का हामी एउटै माला नेपाली सार्वभौमै फैलिएका मेची महाकाली प्रकृतिका कोटि कोटि सम्पदाको आचरा
Firstly, I'd like to call on stage Mr. Rajendra Pandey and Director of Sanskriti International School, Ms. Dipti Acharya, to kindle the auspicious lamp to embark on the proceedings.
Sanskriti International School मलाई तपाईहरुको निम्ता पत्र पनि पठाउनु भएको छ। त्यो निम्ता पत्र पढे र त्यो निम्ता पत्रमा भनिएको एउटा वाक्यले मलाई विशेष छोड्यो। नेपालमा अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय स्तरको गुणस्तरीय शिक्षा प्रदान गर्ने सन्दर्भमा हाम्रो विद्यालय कटिबद्ध छ। संस्कृति स्कुलले जुन खालको एउटा जिम्मेवारी पूर्वक यो वाक्य लेख्यो मलाई निम्ता दिने सिलसिलामा सँगसँगै मैले यहाँ देखेँ हामी यो जानकारी दिन पाउँदा गौरवान्वित भएका छौं कि हाम्रो विद्यालय अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय प्राथमिक पाठ्यक्रमको लागि आईपीसी को लागि मान्यता प्राप्त दक्षिण एसियाको एकमात्र विद्यालय हो। फील्डवर्क एजुकेशन यूके द्वारा प्रस्तावित पाठ्यक्रम यसको व्यापक विषयगत र रचनात्मक पाठ्यक्रमका कारण हालैका वर्षहरूमा नेपालमा विभिन्न विद्यालयहरूले अपनाएका छन्। यस शैक्षिक कार्यक्रमले हामीलाई अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय र स्थानीय राष्ट्रिय पाठ्यक्रम मिश्रण गर्न अनुमति दिँदै विद्यालयहरूलाई फराकिलो अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय र थप चौतर्फी सिकाइ अनुभव प्रदान गर्न मद्दत गर्छ। यो कुराले मलाई अलि आकर्षित पनि गर्यो। म बढी चिन्तित पनि छु र शिक्षामै हामीले जोड गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने लाग्छ। म बागमती प्रदेशको मुख्यमन्त्री भइसकेपछि म अहिले 6औं महिनामा रनिङ छु मुख्यमन्त्री। म मुख्यमन्त्री भइसकेपछि मैले पहिलो निर्णय यो बागमती प्रदेशभरि 119 वटा पालिकाहरू छन्। काठमाडौँ महानगरपालिका, ललितपुर महानगरपालिका, भरतपुर महानगरपालिका भने जस्तै अरु गाउँपालिकाहरू सबै जोड्दा 119 वटा छन्। त्यो 119 वटा पालिकाबाट एकजना दलित अत्यन्त लोपोन्मुख जातिको एकजना विद्यार्थीलाई एसई पास गरेकोलाई 3 वर्षे प्राविधिक कोर्स पढाएर उलाई 8-10 लाख जति खर्च लागोस् पढाएर सम्बन्धित पालिकामै रोजगारीको लागि पठाइदिने हामीले निर्णय गरेका छौं। यसरी सुरुवात गरेका छौं। भर्खरै हामीले बागमती प्रदेश सरकारको तर्फबाट उच्च शिक्षा ऐन पास गरेका छौं। त्यसबाट हामी 3 किसिमका विश्वविद्यालयहरू बनाउन सक्छौं। त्यसको लागि अब छुट्टै ऐन बनाउनु पर्दैन। प्रदेश सरकारले नै सार्वजनिक विश्वविद्यालय, मानित विश्वविद्यालय र प्रतिष्ठान भन्ने बित्तिकै एउटा विषयको मात्रै हुन्छ। त्यो आफ्नो कोर्स आफै बनाउन पाउँछ, अरूलाई एफिलिएसन दिन पाउँदैन। मानित विश्वविद्यालय उसले पनि प्रशस्त कोर्स जतिवटा कोर्स पनि बनाएर चलाउन पाउँछ, एफिलिएसन दिन पाउँदैन। सार्वजनिक विश्वविद्यालयले चाहिँ एफिलिएसन दिन पनि सक्छ। त्यस्ता खालका 3 किसिमका विश्वविद्यालय स्थापना गर्न सक्ने गरी हामीले उच्च शिक्षा ऐन बनाएको छौँ। मलाई लाग्छ संस्कृति इन्टरनेसनल स्कुल जस्ता संस्था, यहाँ भएका उच्च स्तरको शैक्षिक अभियानमा रहेका विद्यालयहरू, तपाईहरू पनि संयुक्त भएर मिलेर भोलि मानित विश्वविद्यालय, सार्वजनिक विश्वविद्यालय आदि विश्वविद्यालय तपाईहरू पनि सञ्चालन गर्न पाउनुहुन्छ। तपाईहरूसँग त्यो क्राइटेरिया पनि हामीले बनाएको छौँ र एक किसिमले भने मानित विश्वविद्यालय र प्रतिष्ठान बनाउनको लागि हामीले काठमाडौँमा 20 रोपनी जमिन मात्रै भए पनि पुग्छ। 20 रोपनी जमिन भएको, आफ्नो फ्याकल्टीहरू भएको, भवन भएको, ल्याब भएको, यी सबै त्यस्तो खालको संस्था आयो भने हामी मानित विश्वविद्यालय दिन सक्छौँ भनेर हामीले क्राइटेरिया बनाएको छौँ र त्यो क्राइटेरियामा तपाईहरू पनि छिर्न सक्नुहुन्छ। कहिलेकाहीँ के हुन्छ भने विश्वविद्यालय कतिवटा बनाउने भन्ने पनि कुरा आउँछ। कतिवटा भने जतिवटा चाहिन्छ त्यतिवटा बनाउने, होइन? जतिवटा चाहिन्छ त्यतिवटा बनाउने, अनि सबै टिक्छन् त? टिक्न नसक्ने मर्छ। जसले राम्रो नयाँ नयाँ ढङ्गले अगाडि आफूलाई लैजान सक्छ त्यो टिक्छ। हु आर द फिटेस्ट, होइन? सर्भाइभल अफ द फिटेस्ट, होइन? जसले आफूलाई बचाउन सक्ने गरी कोर्स तयार गर्छ, बचाउन सक्ने गरी कार्यक्रम बनाउँछ त्यो टिक्छ। त्यस हुनाले मैले त्यो कुरामा चाहिँ तपाईँहरूसँग पनि भन्न चाहन्छु, तपाईँहरूको भूमिका एउटा उच्च भूमिका रहोस्। मैले यति कुरा तपाईँहरूको माझमा राखेँ र विशेष गरी यो प्र्याक्टिकल एजुकेसन कसरी हामी दिन सक्छौँ, प्रमुख कुरा चाहिँ त्यहाँ हो भन्ने लाग्छ। हामीले दिएको एजुकेसन सर्टिफिकेट सिरानीमा हालेर मेरो छोराछोरी एमए पास गरेछन् भनेर बाबुआमाले भन्ने, एमए पास गरेको छोराछोरीले जागिर पाएनन् भनेर भनिरहने स्थिति देशमा सिर्जना गर्नु हुँदैन भन्ने मलाई लाग्छ। अब यतिजना एमए पास गरे भनेपछि अर्को राष्ट्रप्रति नकारात्मक विचार झर्ने, फेरि केही मान्छे थपिए भन्नुपर्ने हुन्छ, होइन? त्यो पास गर्ने बित्तिकै जागिर पाइँदैन, जागिर नपाएपछि ऊ राष्ट्रप्रति नै नेगेटिभ हुँदै जान्छ। त्यसो भएको हुनाले हामीले प्र्याक्टिकल एजुकेसन र त्यो जनशक्ति एउटा बलियो समाजको लागि परिवर्तन गर्न सक्ने जनशक्तिको रूपमा हामीले तयार गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने लाग्छ। अर्को कुरा म तपाईँहरूको माझमा पनि भन्न चाहन्छु, 2 घन्टा पढायो भने 2 वर्ष किन पढाउने? 2 घन्टा पढाउँदा त्यसले त्यति ज्ञान आउँछ भने तपाईँले 2 वर्षसम्म त्यो विद्यालयमा मान्छेलाई बाँधेर किन राख्नुहुन्छ? किन त्यो 2 वर्षको उसको जीवन सिद्धिएन? म त त्यस्तो लाग्छ। अर्को कुरा, तपाईँहरूको एउटा शैक्षिक जनशक्तिको बिचमा मैले बोल्दैछु, राम्रो बाँसुरी वादक छ भने उसलाई हामीले सर्टिफिकेट दिनु हुँदैन। बाँसुरीमा त त्यो सर्टिफिकेट लेभलको हो, ब्याचलर लेभलको, डिग्री लेभलको भनेर लेभल छुट्याएर दिन सक्छौँ नि त। राम्रो फुटबल प्लेयर छ भने उसलाई हामीले डिग्री दिनु हुँदैन। अहिले त्यो फुटबल प्लेयर के हुन्छ, कति पढ्नु भएको छ भने आएन हजुर पढायो भने छैन भने ऊ पछाडि हटिहाल्छ। उसले पनि म ब्याचलर, फुटबलमा ब्याचलर डिग्री हो भनेर गौरव गरेर उभियोस् न, होइन? गौरव गरेर उभियोस्। माटोको भाँडाकुँडा बनाउने फाइन आर्ट क्याम्पसबाट चाहिँ विश्वविद्यालयबाट डिग्री पाउने, होइन त? पढाइ हुन्छ नि त। तर अब यस्तै खालको तपाईँ ललितपुर सहर हेर्नुहोस्, हाम्रो यो काठमाडौँ उपत्यका चाहिँ संसारभरिकै आर्टको, कलाको स्वर्ग हो। त्यति राम्रा कलाहरू छ। एकचोटि कृष्ण मन्दिरको अगाडि उभिएर हेर्नुहोस् त, कति सय वर्ष अगाडि बन्यो र त्यो बनाउने मान्छे कस्ता थिए होला, कस्तो इन्जिनियरिङ गरे होला। त्यो बेला त इन्जिनियर भन्ने नै थिएन नि त। त हामीसँग त्यस्तो जनशक्ति पनि रहेछ नि त। त्यसो भएको हुनाले हामी यस्ता कलाहरू गर्नेहरूलाई पनि सर्टिफिकेट दिएर जान सक्ने ढङ्गले लैजानुपर्छ भनेर लाग्छ। म यो विश्वविद्यालय जो ऐन हामीले पास गरेका छौँ त्यो ऐनको माध्यमबाट यस्तो कला क्षेत्रको पनि विश्वविद्यालय बनाएर अगाडि बढाउनुपर्छ भनेर पनि लागेको छु र मैले तपाईँहरूको माझमा समय अलि धेरै लिएँ। म तपाईँहरूसँग माफी चाहन्छु र विशेष गरी यो शिक्षा क्षेत्रको एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण सम्मेलन हो यो। त्यसैले यो सम्मेलनमा उपस्थित हुनुभएका सबै शिक्षक शिक्षिका साथीहरू र हाम्रो विदेशी मित्रहरू, यहाँहरू सबैलाई म बागमती प्रदेश सरकारको तर्फबाट मलाई पनि यहाँ बोलाएर केही कुरा राख्ने अवसर दिनुभयो, मेरो कुरा सुनिदिनु हो, यहाँहरूलाई म हार्दिक धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु र म फेरि पनि भन्न चाहन्छु बागमती प्रदेश सरकार यो शैक्षिक अभियानमा तपाईहरुकै साथमा हिँड्न तयार छ र तपाईहरुले अब साथको लागि हात अगाडि बढाउनुस्, यही शुभकामनाका साथ बिदा हुन्छु। हस्, धन्यवाद, नमस्कार।
The most important thing in the learning process is your impact as teachers.
And the best available evidence suggests that the way that we do that is not by having the best textbook in the world, because the best textbook in the world is no good without a really good teacher. It's you that has the impact on the learning. And that's why we're going to focus today teaching approaches that ensure long-term retention of knowledge, fluency in key skills, and confident use of metacognitive strategies are crucial. These are fundamental to learning and are the bread and butter of effective teaching. And the EEF, the Education Endowment Foundation, is right, and they share that view with Fieldwork.
Hope each one of you had a fruitful day of learning and sharing. We will now have the panel discussion section of the agenda. I will put forward a few questions first, and I'll let the audience think for theirs. I'd like to now request our panelists, Ms. Sarah Blackmore, Ms. Claire Sutton, Mr. Neil McRae, and Ms. Deepthi Acharya to come on stage, please. Thank you, and let's get started with the questions. The first question for Ms. Deepthi Acharya. From the symposium today, we all know that there are 3 learning goals: the subject learning goal, international learning goal, and the personal learning goal. How can we integrate these with our curriculum so as to improve learning?
So when I started my journey with the IPC, I was equally very confused as some of you are right now, and it's okay to be confused. Always there is fuzzy learning, and then there is consolidated learning. Now, when we started with the fact that I need to focus on one thing at a time. This was my vision. And I started working on the sports part when I started the school, which was called Bridgewater. Then after that, I focused on the art section. And then the next year, I started on the music. So every year, I have made a goal to focus on one subject. Now when IPC came and I realized that there has been so much of integration, not only on the subjects, but on the values, which is a personal goal, and also including the international mindedness, which means that you are celebrating differences, which is really big in today's world to make our learners much more globally competent. With that, what I decided was, I need to bring in more things. And that's how I integrated maths, and that's how I brought in Devesh with the Unmath. And then I moved on to service learning. Now with service learning, I realized that children and learners need to move out. I know many of you know that our children need to do community service, but how do you give them that opportunity? And that is brought by outdoor learning. Children need to learn beyond the classroom. And then I moved on into social emotional learning, and last year we really focused on social emotional learning, and that's how we try to embed all these things. So coming to your question, subjects, personal goals and international mindedness is very, very core to the IPC values, which means the learning goals. Now for that, you need to make sure that all the subjects are integrated, which means you need to integrate PE, art, music, outdoor learning, service learning, social emotional learning, technology, everything has to be connected. So when learners move into these different spheres of their classroom, beyond their classroom, their neurons connect and they make the learning much more meaningful. And then when these learning become much more meaningful, it becomes much more understanding for the learners and as well as for the staff and the teachers in the school. So I feel that making sure that everything in the school is integrated and making sure that every member of the school is integrated. That means even the guards, the sisters, the parents, the people in the neighborhood should know what you are doing. There's no secret. And you should not keep it a secret. And when you can do that, then learning will become much more meaningful. Thank you.
Welcome back once again to yet another day of learning. Improving learning, as I said yesterday, is something that we religiously follow at Sanskriti International School. And we would like everybody here in this room to take this back so that we improve the learning not only of our learners, but make sure all of us in this room take pride and take this pledge that you will improve your own learning as well in the days to come. I hope you all have had a wonderful day yesterday and look forward to yet another day of networking and sharing.
I'm here as a keynote speaker, very excited. Sanskriti has been a partner of Haveli Outdoor Learning Center for doing something very seminal and path-breaking in Nepal in terms of incorporating outdoor learning in its practice at a middle school level in an amazingly dynamic sort of a way. And I will take some time to explain to you how during the course of my speech. I have titled my presentation, Developing Critical and Creative Learners and Good Citizens Through Outdoor Learning. I will break it apart a little bit. I think, yes, we might need to tone down the light in the room a little bit for the presentation to be effective. Critical and creative learners and good citizens. So, the whole premise of Haveli Outdoor Learning Center was to create a project whereby we took children out in nature, so they started developing a love of the environment, a love of the landscape, a love of the countryside, a love of the earth that we live in, so that in the future when they become leaders, when they become activists, when they become politicians, when they become business folk, they live a life where they're not going about destroying nature. And why is that important for Nepal? Why is that important for the world? You will notice, I'm sure, that all of the conversations around 21st century education is also foreshadowed by an incredible challenge to all of humanity, which is climate change, right? So climate change is such a broad idea. Every country talks about it. Greta Thunberg is being an activist as a really young child out in the world, sort of saying, people, please protect the earth. But these meta-narratives don't really connect with our children, who will be future leaders, who will be active agents of change in the future. How do we simplify it for them so that they start engaging in the environment? And you cannot protect something that you don't deeply love, right? The reason why mothers protect their children is because there is an intrinsic sort of a relationship of love. When fathers do that, when brothers do that, there is some sort of a visceral connection. I really believe that living in the environment and really getting a sense for what it means to be in nature develops a sense of affection for the environment, and that affection enables the child to become an adult who actually plans and prepares to work without destroying the environment. If they were to be hotel builders in the future, they would be serious about how to reduce CO2 emissions. They would really work on how to power up infrastructure with renewable energy. So we can't get these children to make these sort of decisions until we simplify it for them as to what it means to practice ecological mindedness at a very basic level, right? And that creates wonderful opportunities. So today is a celebration of the opportunities that outdoor learning opens up for children. And I'm going to show you some slides related to that. Critical because we are actually rooting something very simple about engaging in the outdoors, having fun, being bitten by leeches, all of this around the idea of our connection with the environment, the human being's connection with the environment, right? And we cannot be stupendous, like high-achieving people without really being aware of the environment that we live in. We may boast about like being in a fanciful city, the capital city, but look at the quality of air we breathe. We've really done ourselves no justice by sitting over here and living our lives in this way without demanding that change be done, right? And even to have activists really informed about why is it that policymakers need to change the way we live in this city, we need our young kids asking that accountability of our leaders. And therefore, the citizenship idea comes into this process of outdoor learning, okay? Good citizen, you know, it's a complicated idea, right? It's like, what is a good person? How do you define good? But I noticed that, and it is a very controversial idea, even in Singapore, where so much of the curriculum is really guided by the idea of good citizenship. But I realized that Nepalis also say, asal nagarik. एउटा असल मान्छे हुनलाई तिमी ठुलो भएपछि ज्ञानी बन, असल बन, हैन? हामी पनि प्रयोग गर्छौं के त्यो? We can actually break it apart in an academic sort of a way, but actually it is part of our ethos, part of our language in Nepal to say, be a Gyani person, like a knowledgeable person almost, but a good person, right? Be an asal person. So why not take that, right? And instead of being very academically critical about definition of good and whatever not, it has to relate to our community also, right? Gyani bana, asal bana, we give ashirwad, like we give blessings to our children like that. The most abundant, accessible, and affordable resource for experiential learning, the wonderfully rich Nepali landscapes relate the challenges of life ahead. In addition, we will have failed as educators and parents.
Under international curriculum, we have the IUIC, the IPC, and the IMYC, which you know about, and that falls under our improving learning. Under unlocking potential is our training and our professional learning. So what we're doing here today. So within this learning ecosystem, we have had updates in each of these three areas. So what I wanted to do today is just take you through some of these updates and show you where they fit into that ecosystem. And a lot of these you should be aware of if you're receiving the Curriculum Focus newsletter, which comes out once a month to you as subscriber schools. If you're not getting this, let me know because I can get this sorted out for you. A lot of our updates will come to you in this email, and these are new documentations, new webinars, new units, new announcements, new team members, new things that you should be aware of as a subscriber school. So let me know if you're not getting those and we can sort that out for you. The IMYC, let's start there. The IMYC is available to all of our subscriber schools. When you log on to My Fieldwork, you will see a range of brand new documentation. We have our core documents. We have brand new learning goals. We have new units. And within those new units, we have two new subjects. We have health and well-being, which ties nicely back into the keynote we've just heard. And we have our brainwave units. In addition to this, we have a specialist webinar series, which I hope you've seen if you're an IMYC school. There's lots on there of different keynote speakers, different experts, different members of IMYC subscriber schools sharing with you their experiences. So let's move on to unlocking potential, which is our training and professional learning. Across professional learning, we have curriculum-specific courses. These can be accessed online or as an online blended. You can access these in an individual or as a school-wide training program. A lot of the schools in here have had training with us over the last couple of years, so you'll understand these terms of online blended for school-wide implementation. These training courses are flexible, they can fit into your needs, and they're at different levels. So you've got your level 1 implementing courses, which are for those early days of taking on the curriculum, getting to know the basics and the fundamentals of the curriculum, how to plan as a team, how to find the support documents, what's in the units, what's an entry point look like, an exit point look like. Things work in a classroom and embedding those practices and looking deeper into each of the elements. We have a brand new learning platform on which all our courses take place. This is LearnWorlds. You'll see a screenshot just back a slide. Our LearnWorlds platform is where we have all our courses, and as you get enrolled onto the courses, you'll have your own account that you can build up your own profile on.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. I hope these 2 days of rigorous learning has helped you understand the IUIC, IPC, and the IMYC curriculum better. We are grateful to Fieldwork Education and Sanskriti International School for making this Improving Learning Symposium possible. With a huge round of applause, may I now invite our chairperson of Sanskriti International School, Mr. Ranjit Acharya, and School Director of Sanskriti International School, Ms. Vidya Acharya, to felicitate our honored guests and presenters for the Improving Learning Symposium 2022. I'd like to invite Mr. Amit Mantri, Vice Principal at Sanskriti International School. Mr. Vishal. Ms. Tisha Lalishani. Ms. Manisha Sala. Ms. Neil McRae. Let's put our hands together for Ms. Sangeeta Bhattacharya. Ms. Sarah Blackmore. Ms. Sherry Schweitzer. Put your hands together for Ms. Simila Shrestha, Principal of Sanskriti International School. As we finally come towards the final hour of the symposium and closing, I would like to thank each one of you for being a part of this event. The symposium was especially organized by Sanskriti International School in partnership with the ICA, International Curriculum Association, which is a part of the Fieldwork Education, especially for you, and we are glad